So look, I was just on a post, reading some posts, and listening to the older folks, OGs, telling me about what's going on with the youth, right? And what what they what we going through. So I just hear a lot of killings. I just hear a lot of people talking about kids shooting each other, black kids, and it's recent, right? It's recent. So I never really used to hear about black kids shooting kids in school. Even still to this day, it's rare for me to hear and if it is, it's more like one-on-one personals. Niggas get hit, bystanders. One or two kids get hit. It's not a mass shooting. And I'm not trying to provoke anything, but I feel like it's a narrative being written because, well, it was like right about 2-3 years ago, right? And all the school shootings was happening, mass shootings. They was running into schools. Kids was running into schools, running into churches. You get what I'm saying? It was kids. You get what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden something changed 2-3 years later. Now, especially when you looking in Baltimore, you look like, well, why is it so much crime? Why is it so much young brothers killing each other, young brothers and sisters? The girl got stabbed in Lakeland. You saying over they say over a boy. Who cares what it was about? This is what it's about. They taking, you ever heard of this thing called CRT, critical race theory, right? And this thing been around for about 80 years, right? But it's a lot of history that's going on that a lot of people don't want to speak about, right? And they have a Black History Month, right? And then they have the rest of the years basically, or the rest of you getting told is just American history or world history, right? But it's crazy because Black history, world history, and American history is synonymous. You can't separate the two because it was built on the backs. It was like what you gave in culture, what you got in society, even down to irrigation and street lights, refrigerators, freezers. It was like where do you try to write us out? Why are you trying to write us out? And then the moment that they did, right? Look at the crime rate. Look what happened. Because for one, you're not teaching them who they are. You're not teaching the young brothers what it is. You're not telling them, listen, you came from something more. And no matter what you go through, there's always a ceiling. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Now, it don't even look like it's light in the tunnel. Because you're not even teaching them anything about their past, about their history, whether it was pain or not. And then even then, when they were teaching them, those were lies. Well, not all lies, but they just told them one side. They didn't tell them that we weren't freed. They had to do it. It was a political move. It was a political, and they say Abraham Lincoln didn't really free the slaves for the slaves. That's true. But another reason that he did it was because he had to do it. Because if not, then the whole country would have burned. The whole country would have burned. You couldn't continue slavery because we wasn't putting up with it no more. And that's something they not teaching, or they didn't teach. And now they're not teaching it at all for you to tell anything. And they say they leave it at home. Leave it up to the people at home when 80% of the general public is asleep. So then you saying leave it to the people, leave it to their parents. And their parents are part of the 80%. So then you being disinformed at home, then you being misinformed at school, not being told who you is, and then you gonna wonder why kids is not interested in school and worrying about and focusing on other school. Then on top of that, let's just talk about in Baltimore City that when Bill Clinton was in power, and you talking about Democrats, Bill and Hillary was in power, and they wrote the 3-strike bill, and 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes, you out, and you getting big sentences. And went off the backs of that, they built baby bookings. That 31 million that came from the casino that was being built sometime that year or before or whatever, that 31 million they got fronted from the government, instead of them putting it into the recreation centers like they said, like the governor said, O'Malley said, Larry Hogan and all them in that same camp said, they built the jail. And when they built the jail, they shut down all the wrecks, and then you wondering why you got squeegee boys out here, and cause they ain't got nowhere to go. So y'all lost, and y'all wondering why shit happening, and this is the reason. This is the result of not being politically active, of being asleep and being a part of that 80%. I'm gonna just tell you what it is. And y'all could take it or leave it, but this is the truth. These are the facts. They shut it down. They shut down the Rex. They shut down the whole city with all the nonsense. And it came back. And the little kid and the young brothers is out on the streets and they got beef. And they could be beefing from the summertime stuff. And they coming back in school like, yo, remember that time you stole that money and I ain't never see you for eons? And now I get to see you in school? That's what's going on. But it's still because these little niggas ain't got nowhere to go. They ain't got no guidance either. Cause then who guide them on the street? Who are the niggas that's on the street that you see, the older niggas out there? You want this riffraff teaching our youth? And you got these niggas that's out here trying to take their hustle and then teaching them and trying to keep them on game. How you gonna keep them on game and you trying to take the game from them? The little hustle they got. So like, you can't trust them niggas. You can't trust them niggas, man, because them niggas is trying to take your hustle. The same way a nigga try to knock your hustle, he gonna tell you anything. And now it's the result of the blind teaching people who could barely see. They not blind, but they could barely see. And these little niggas are smart too, so it just is what it is. I'm just giving y'all the game. That's just something quick I wanted to get off my mind, you know, and it is what it is. Y'all can take it or leave it.